There we go. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is 9 o'clock. I'm sure others will be joining us shortly, but I'm going to call the September 17th meeting of the Dunn County Traffic Safety and Emergency Medical Services Committee to order. Call the roll. Is Marie doing those duties today? I don't see her. Oh, that's the DSP's iPad. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yep, that'd be State Patrol.
I think Marie Marty was going to do, Patty is not with us today. And well, I tell you, as far as roll call, we'll do that at the end. And if nothing else, we'll just look at the YouTube version of the meeting to see who was here. First order of business is approval of the minutes from June 18th. You should have received those in the packet. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I would move to approve the minutes as presented.
Kelly moves. Is there a second?
I would second.
Scott seconds. Any discussion, additions to the minutes from June 18th? Seeing no response, all those in favor of the motion, say aye or raise your hand or wave your arms around frantically or whatever it is that you do best. Very good. Our thousands of loyal viewers who like to be entertained by this kind of thing. Public comments. Patty or Krista tells me there are no public comments today, so we'll get right into the committee reports, starting with Chad. Is Chad on the line yet?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Chad. DOT traffic.
All right, I'll just go over where we're at with our construction here for 2021. Highway 85 in Rock Falls, the bridge is set to open hopefully by October 1st. Unless something gets a little delayed, they're thinking it should be happening by then, probably the 4th at the latest. I-94 Knapp Hill project has been done for a while, but we do have some culvert liners that we need to do out there. They're supposed to do that earlier this summer, but things keep getting pushed back. So right now they're looking like late September to do that work and probably a week or two to do that. So we'll just have some off-peak lane closures out there again. 705th Street, the Pine Creek Bridge is set to open in early October. County W Popple Creek Bridge, that one's done and open. The Marathon project here on 170, most of that work is all done now. They're working on beam guard on the east end of the project. We got a little change we're going to do with the 79 South intersection. We had a little snafu and some things didn't quite make it into the plan like we thought. So we're just going to kind of realign that a little bit to get it a little bit closer to square. Kind of unfortunate because that intersection and everything is basically done there. So we're going to go in and rip it up and make some corrections there. But that's going to happen hopefully here in early October. Kind of depends on when the contractor can get in there. And the signals at 79 and 170 are set to be installed the middle of October. We're waiting on some poles to get that work wrapped up. Currently looking at probably an October 15th completion, but with that 79 South intersection work, it might be a little bit later than that, depending on when they can get in there and wrap that up. Otherwise, that's kind of all I got for construction. I'll go through the 2020 projects at our December meeting when I know more. Otherwise, I don't really have any other safety things. I know last meeting I kind of briefed you guys a little bit on the 29 and H intersection. We kind of kicked that off with the designer here a little while ago and met with the county and the township and stuff. So I'll provide updates as we progress with that. Anybody have any questions for me?
Chad, what's the projected timeline on that 29 and H work?
I think that would be a few years out yet. I'm guessing probably 3 to 4 years, depending on how our funding works for that.
Okay.
And what we end up deciding to do there.
And has Boyceville planned a community celebration to install their new lights?
I'll let you take that up with the chief.
Okay.
I'm sure they are.
It's been known to happen. I've got somebody on the screen here calling from telephone 2901. Can you identify yourself so we can get you in the roll?
This is Marie Marty from the Dunn County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, Marie, good. Thank you. Any other questions for Chad? Thank you, Chad. Did I miss somebody? Rick, you're up next.
Okay, good morning. I'm going to try and share my screen if it'll let me.
I bet it will.
Okay, did that work? You see the PowerPoint that I sent out this morning?
Yep.
Okay, I'll just go through a few things. These are the statewide crash numbers as of yesterday. 397 fatalities statewide compared to 410 the year before. Looking at the county through August 31st, the first number is the number this year. The number in parentheses is last year. We can kind of do a comparison. Overall crashes are up, fatalities are up. Injuries, which are the most serious injuries prior to a fatal, they're about equal, but the other crashes, as you can see, the numbers are up significantly. Alcohol-related crashes are up, as well as drug-related. The only one that's basically down is distracted, and the driver is 65 plus. So, as you can see, commercial motor vehicles have been involved in more crashes. Seatbelt or safety equipment means safety equipment is either seatbelts or helmets, and almost twice as many this year, last year, and what we're seeing kind of statewide yet is the speed-related crashes quite a bit. Looking at the fatalities since the last meeting, my records show we had 3. I just did a real quick review of each one of those. As far as the 5-year crash history, the first one was July 9th on Highway 12. The vehicle, motorcycle versus deer. That entire stretch, that was the only vehicle versus deer crash in 5 years. I don't really know that stretch too well, but I thought that was a little bit unusual that you wouldn't have any car deers at all portable during the past 5 years. The second one is the one on August 14th. On 29th, that showed 11 crashes in that area. Majority of them appeared to be at the intersection with River, resulting in the 1 fatality and 4 injuries. This one, I believe, was a motorcycle that struck a guardrail. And then the third one was on, again, Highway 12. That showed 14 crashes, 1 fatality and 8 injuries. So for 5 years, looking at the traffic numbers there, it didn't appear to be real high. And then predictive analytics, I just took a look at the entire county. Pretty much as we've seen in the past, Menominee has the majority of crashes. The number 1 area being in the city of Menominee, and then second, third, fourth, and fifth, they're all in the city. And I believe we've seen that kind of in the past, that the majority of crashes do happen in the city. And I did take a look at, let's eliminate the city and see what the primary areas are. And the first one is on 94 by 12 in that interchange area. 7 crashes, 3 speed related. And then going through the rest of the county, you can kind of see one is on Highway 12, another one's on 25. So pretty much around the Menominee area. Again, is probably based on the amount of vehicle traffic in that area. Mobilizations, we just completed Drive Sober. Agency should have submitted the report by now. And then the next one is December 17th through January 1st. The annual Drive Sober. And I'm going to try and share one other screen here now, if it'll let me. Okay, these are the legislative updates. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they are accessible to everyone. It's not something you need a login or password for. The nice thing is anything with a green arrow or highlighting is some kind of a change over the past week or two. I'll go through a couple of those. And then one that I want to ask Captain McRoberts about. The first updated one is here. Snowmobile ATV operation near a highway that had a public hearing on the 7th. That's the one that basically says you have to drive with traffic. So if you have a trail along the Highway 12, they'd have to follow or be in the same area as traffic if they're within, I believe it's 10 or 12 feet. Basically, if the snowmobile is northbound on a road, they would have to be on the northbound side, the northbound ditch area, and if they're southbound, they'd have to be on the southbound side. It eliminates the problem with oncoming headlights. But what some counties have told me is that it basically doubles the amount of trails that they would have, because you wouldn't be able to do both on the same side of the road. Unregistered vehicles, that basically eliminates, right now during a state of emergency, unregistered vehicles are not a violation. This eliminates that and says, because of the fact that everything can be done online, because right now, during any type of state of emergency in the state, you can't stop vehicles for registration violations. Then this one here is the one I was going to ask Captain McRoberts about. This had a public hearing, and it's on ATV, UTV speed limits. Does your county ordinance have a speed limit for ATVs and UTVs? You're muted, Scott.
Right now, we got township ordinances, and we're trying to get a consolidated county ordinance, but that was going to be the move to try to look at a uniform speed limit.
Well, this basically allows municipalities to set a speed limit different than the posted speed limit for cars. So what I've been told is, like, for example, where I'm from, Fond du Lac County, they have a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit on all ATV, UTV routes. This basically is telling us that that's illegal. That if it's a posted 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, then any vehicle on the roadway can go 55. This is going to allow, if it passes, this will allow you to set a speed limit lower than the general posted speed limit. I don't think a lot of agencies knew that. I thought you could have two separate speed limits, but apparently not. So that might be something worth keeping an eye on. There's been no indication if it'll pass or what happened at the public hearing. I actually was kind of surprised at it because I thought you could do it anyhow.
Well,
I didn't realize it.
It's interesting, Rick, if you go into the applicability of Chapter 346, what's applicable to ATVs, even open intoxicants, that kind of thing. There's stuff that has not yet caught up with all the ATV travel on a highway, and that's one I think needs to be addressed down the road. I think people are shocked when you can legally drive down the road on an ATV drinking your alcohol, as long as you're not intoxicated.
I think there's a lot of those that need to be addressed.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. I appreciate it.
There is some, when you talk to engineers, some of the discussion about that actually makes sense, that if you're driving down the highway in your car at 55, you don't want to come over the top of the hill and see an ATV in your lane at 35. Because now you have the same conflict you have when you have speed limits that are set way too low for an area, where you'll have that conflict in traffic. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. And then I will actually mention to her about the other, like the open intoxicants and things like that. Because I know they have a committee that's starting to look at ATV and UTVs because they're becoming such a wide range of the road users. And then not a whole lot of other changes here. Some grant information and updates. There was one signed into law that law enforcement and a number of agencies missed. Search warrants, AV or Act 65. That's the one when you get a telephonic search warrant. Prior to this, you were required to transcribe the transaction and file it with the courts. This is now saying you must also keep the audio. So law enforcement has to maintain that audio. They don't have to file it with the courts, but they have to keep the audio as evidence. It has to be the original recording. So a lot of agencies are just using their body cams and then keeping that because it's part of the case anyhow. But there is a memo attached to it that does explain it a little bit. Those are really the only things I have that have come up recently. So if there's any questions, hopefully I can help you.
Thank you, Rick. Interesting. Anybody have any questions? I know Captain McRoberts mentioned that the Dunn County and the municipalities are attempting to kind of standardize a set of rules for ATVs, and it seemed like an easy thing to accomplish at first, is proving to be a little more difficult than I originally anticipated, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I know we spent a lot of time on that in highway.
I do know
It
one
is-
example that some counties are using is Kewaunee County. The sheriff there came up with I think it's like a 1.5-page ordinance, and all of the townships and villages adopted that. So it's the same in every municipality, which would really help, because otherwise it's, well, which side of the town line am I on? And can I do this or can't I do that? And so that might be one to take a look at. I know the sheriff there had a lot of luck getting everybody on the same page. And I
What
believe
county
the
was that,
primary
Rick?
Kewaunee.
Kewaunee, okay.
Yep. And I think the driving force behind it was the township sets a rule. The sheriff can't enforce it unless there's a county ordinance. So they wanted one unifying ordinance countywide that just made it much easier on law enforcement to be able to enforce. So that's just one of the options I've heard. I haven't had a chance to look at a lot of the others yet.
Anything else for Rick? Don't see anything. Thank you, Rick. Rick submitted a written report as well, so if you want to look at that, it's available. Next on our list, railroad. Anybody hear from the railroad? I want to hear from those railroad guys. Highway Safety Coordinator. Scott, this would be you.
All right, I did not get to dissect our numbers like I normally do with working around the clock since last Sunday. But going into the fatals, as Rick had noted, we didn't note any highway concerns, that kind of thing with any of them. The deer are a problem. And I don't know if there's any of the motorcycle operators out there, just got to be cautious. We got a lot of high road ditch grass, that kind of stuff. And the deer are moving. Speed grant wise, we participated through June, July, August, got an extension through September because we still have funds to try to spend on that. We just have not had a lot of staff to put out there on that, but we're doing our best on that. Drive Sober, we participated in that through August 20th through September 6th. And that I believe we had 8 OWI, or restricted controlled substance arrests out of that through the Labor Day time up in Ridgeland. Appreciate AB's assistance again with traffic in the Ridgeland area during that fair. That's always appreciated. But that's all I got for today. Anybody have any questions at all?
Thank you, Scott. I don't see any. You've been busy this week, huh?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Good job to your agency and all of the other participating agencies. It's wonderful to have you here.
Highway Department, John, what have you got for us?
Morning, everybody. As we know, winter's starting to set in here, fall's coming. Finishing up all of our construction projects here. You're going to notice that there's some that don't have pavement markings on yet. There is a traffic paint shortage, so we are patiently waiting in line. We're actually a little proactive there and got V shoulder just in case. It's got center line, but we're waiting for fog line. And we did not want to say, hey, we're in town, we're ready to paint your fog line, and then we didn't have it shouldered, so they would leave again. So you will notice we got a couple railroad crossings and some stop bars to paint. There is some fog lines. Some of our normal restriping is on hold here until they can round up some paint. But things are coming together. We're getting salt. We're having some issues down by the 2 truck stops there on B. We're going to try and shore up that right around that railroad crossing in that intersection here, doing some more semi-permanent patch here. That's got to get us through 2 more winters and 1 more summer before construction takes place there. So hopefully everybody holds tight and bears with it. We're going to start a mill and fill from I-94 to Cedar Falls Road out there by Walmart this coming week. So that when I drive through there, I just cringe and I see Chad smiling. It needed to be done. We finally got everybody on board and got the go ahead. So hopefully that's going to be one bad area here that we address. The other things are we're going to assist Eau Claire County with some of their cable barrier in the center median on repair. We actually have quite a bit of expert people over here on our crews. We were one of the first ones, probably about, correct me, Chad, about 20, 25 years ago when that first cable barrier came on board. Dunn was one of the first ones. So we have quite a bit of experience with putting it in, getting attention, checking it, all the replacement parts. So Eau Claire has asked us to assist. They had a couple truck hits. So we'll be doing that here in the next month. Knock on wood, our I-94 section has been really good this summer. Minor accident here a week ago Sunday with, it sounds like somebody was high rate of speed and came upon some traffic that was going a little bit slower and there was a rear end. So otherwise, we're just going to start concrete patches here and try to get some of these nasty bumps gone before winter, and then buckle down and pray that we have a warm, dry winter.
Well, I'm trying to help you out, John. I'm wearing my summer shirt yet.
That's perfect, Jim. Wear that thing right up until about the 1st of March.
Yeah. Any questions for John? Thank you, John. Kelly, how about you? Anything to add from the committee?
No, I think John covered everything pretty well. We'll definitely want to keep an eye on that ATV ordinance, though, that I had not realized about the speed limits, and that's good to know.
Thank you. Next on our list is Menominee Police. I don't see anybody from the Menominee Police Department. Am I missing somebody? This is your last chance. Then we'll go to State Patrol Sergeant Bell. I thought I saw, yeah, there you are. Somewhere.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, well, there we go. Over the last period, State Patrol handled about 27 crashes no fatalities during that last period. Participated in drive sober. We had 2 vehicles working up in the Ridgeland Fair area. Also participated in the clicker ticket mobilization, and we've been doing some air details over the Knapp Hill area. That's pretty much it. Working on getting a predictive analytics heat map zone to kind of concentrate on during the winter months to increase our efforts and presence in that area. That's pretty much all we have.
Any questions? Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate your efforts. DNR, anybody from DNR? Don't see anybody, but I've been known to skip people. School administrator, Bill, you're up. What have you got for us today?
Good morning, everyone. Just what we deal with every year is this time of the year, the eastbound roadways, we get sun shining directly down them. Our bus drivers, we always make sure they're extra cautious, but we're always concerned about drivers, not looking for bus stops and, blinding sun when they come around a corner and they're facing the east and a bus is stopped, and had some issues over the years with that, but that's a huge safety thing, particularly this time of the year with the sun low and shining right down those east roadways. Kind of an interesting situation just lately, just from the school point of view. We've had Dunn County Sheriff's Department's assisted us about 2 or 3 times in the last week or two, but we had a kind of an elderly individual who has been out, has a thing that's saying our bus is speeding on a road, a dead end road, and it's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. This one time when bus cameras and a GPS speed tracker definitely protects the bus driver in the district, because the fastest the bus we could find on it went 26 miles an hour, but it was low 20s or teens. And this person was just bound and determined. He was speeding up and down the road, and then came out a couple days ago and stood in the middle of the road and came up, started pounding on the bus door. And, you got the kids watching, but the cameras, have everything on, video recorded, but kind of a strange happening, but it's stuff that happens out in school land out here. And our bus drivers never know what they're going to run into day to day. I mean, it's a sad thing when you see somebody having some mental or medical health issues, and probably my guess is some dementia or something. I'm not a doctor, but that's some of the fun we're dealing with outside of COVID. And John Swirsky, I just want to say we're going to opt out of having snow on roads this year in our district. So just letting you know that, okay? But that's all I have. Thank you, unless you have questions for me.
Thank you, Bill. I'll keep wearing my summer shirt for you as well.
Thank you.
Any questions for Bill? Great, thank you. Nothing from the county board. Kelly and I spoke a little yesterday, and I don't think, unless Kelly thought of something overnight.
No.
Then Ryan, community member. Ryan, you got anything for us today?
Hey, good morning, everybody. I got a couple things. We had some Girl Scouts looking to do a project for one of their badges, and they're going to do it's called Yellow Light, Red Light, Stop for Buses in Sight campaign. And get like little signs, like I guess like you see for like political signs, like yard signs. So we're gonna get about 100 of those and put up in the community, because we still continue to have people run through the red lights. It's not been terrible this year, but just trying to get some community awareness out there for that, and a good project for the Girl Scouts. We appreciate them doing all that, which is great. So if anybody wants a yard sign in their yard, just get a hold of me and I can get you one. They've also been doing like public announcements or public service announcements at the football games, Maui football games. So that's kind of good to get some awareness out there for the public, because obviously schools have started up here again. So people over the summer kind of forget, buses are back on the roads. The other thing I got is still that exit 45 right up by Love's Truck Stop, Senex out there. It's just a bad intersection for us. Like, obviously we have to stop for the railroad tracks out there, and then the kind of semis from both sides, they just kind of don't really know what to do. So I don't know if there's a good solution there, but it's just kind of an awkward, you're kind of looking at them, they're looking at you. And I know with the roads there on both sides, it's just not a good situation, but we continue to deal with that. We haven't had anything like Bill had, thank God. But yeah, I agree with the no snow this year in Dunn County as well too. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
Thank you, Ryan. Sounds like this group at least is pretty much in agreement about what we expect and would appreciate in terms of weather. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Jim, could I comment on the Loves intersection?
Absolutely. Go ahead, John.
That's part of that MLS project that we got to be constructed in 2023. We're in right now with the railroad. We're going to get a brand new railroad crossing. There will be lights. The lights are going to end up conforming to the railroad crossing. So if everybody can hold on just 2 more construction seasons or another year and a half, 2023, that 1,000 feet north of the tracks to basically 1229 should be pretty wonderful. Get me to retirement at least.
Well,
So-
we're not going to talk about any retirements today. How about that?
It's coming. So not my retirement, but fixing the intersection there on B. So
Thank you, John. Looking forward to it.
me too.
Anybody else in the traffic safety part of the meeting? If not, we'll move on to medical emergency reports. Red Cross, seems like last time I missed our Red Cross representative. Is she here today? Nope. First responders, anybody from first responders? Don't see anybody. Red Cedar Medical Center, Mary.
Hi, it looks like Sergeant has his hand up. I don't know if that's a question for the group or.
Oh, he does. Thank you.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I heard anything on it or not. I know you heard mentioning the railroad crossing at Highway B, and I forgot to mention that in my portion, if it already hasn't been mentioned, but we will be doing that officer on the train detail with that on Monday morning for a few hours. And I believe county and city may be involved with that also, just to throw that in there.
And what is that? Officer on the train?
Just an enforcement detail with the railroad crossing.
All right, thank you. I always like to hear that railroad news. Mary, go ahead. You're
Yeah.
up. And thanks
I'm
for
gonna try to
bringing
share
that to
my-
my attention. I missed that.
That's okay. Can you see my
Cam,
slides? All right.
yes.
Display settings. Okay. Okay. So COVID, here we are again. We are back to very full hospitals throughout our Northwest Wisconsin region with COVID patients and just very, very busy. In Menominee today, we have 6 inpatients with COVID. We have visitor limitations and masking requirements on campus. Our employee vaccine rates are climbing due to a requirement that our employees are either vaccinated or go through a declination process, and the deadline for that is today. So we are thankfully nearing 83% vaccination, and yet our county numbers remain low. We are at, I think, 96% compliance with our with the requirement as of today. So what that means is people will be put on administrative leave and not allowed to work. So Mayo and Mayo Clinic Health System is taking that very seriously. Our COVID testing numbers, we range from 162 to 88 tests every day, Monday through Friday. We started doing Monday through Friday, I believe it was about September 1st. We had previously been Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but now we're every day and pretty high volume, and our positivity rate is ranging from 16 to 20%. So vaccinations are still available and encouraged. Really, the impact on staff is what's pretty incredible. Our nurses, providers, all of our staff working extra shifts, picking up shifts. It's just pretty much all hands on deck right now. So very stressful for our staff. A couple of other things. During COVID last year, we had an EICU collaboration with our colleagues in Rochester, and we utilized them quite heavily in our progressive care unit. And now we are hardwiring that hardware and that relationship with our Rochester colleagues. And that'll be beginning in October for the wiring process. And then we'll be able to have our Rochester ICU colleagues available to us 24/7, 365 in our progressive care unit, which is great for our patients. Surgeries continue, and our modeling for Northwest Wisconsin shows us in a red status within 4 weeks, meaning that over 50% of our ICU beds will be filled and unavailable. So challenging situations here in healthcare. From fall renovation projects that have been approved, our Family Birth Center roof should be replaced actually and finished yet this week. We are demolitioning the business services building that's on the service road 2415. That'll be slated for October. A couple of construction projects on campus that'll be beginning before the end of the year. We're just finalizing bids and all of that kind of thing. Our lower level laboratory in the 98 building is going to be renovated and redesigned. And then the West building, which is the former Red Cedar Clinic on our campus, kind of the administration area, which is vacant right now, will be remodeled for a dermatology clinic. And then we are putting siding on the eye care center building on that service road as well this year. Any questions?
Mary, I know there was some consideration of demolishing that used to be a church on 21st Street. Any news on that? I'm asking personal reasons. It's right down the street from me. So
Yeah, it's still on our list, but it wasn't approved for this year's projects. So
okay,
we had so many dollars to do renovation projects this year, and that one was not approved. So hopefully next year.
Are they going to expand the parking area into that space then, or what?
Potentially, but we don't have a demand right now for the parking. So while we're not using that building, the air quality in there is terrible. It really does just need to go. But we don't have the immediate demand for parking right now. So
Okay.
potentially it'll probably just go to green space, I believe.
Again, that's more of a personal question since I'm so close, but thank you.
You're
Anything
welcome.
else for Mary? Get your shots.
Get your shots.
Katie Gallagher is up next. Katie has another meeting. When and if she finishes, she'll join us and we'll catch her a little later. Takes us to Melissa Gellenbach, who has my favorite designation here of disasters.
I know. I love that too. Fortunately, we have not really had to deal with any disasters, so that is a good thing. It's kind of status quo in the emergency management office. It's the end of the fiscal year for us with our grants and things like that. So we're busy kind of doing those closeouts and getting ready. We actually participated in an exercise last night at the Boyceville Fire Department and simulated a disaster. Those are the kind I like. So if you have a shirt that kind of helps us stay out of the disaster zone, we're wearing that too. Yeah, it was a good drill. We worked with the local police, fire, EMS, and a couple local businesses up there in the Boyceville area and simulated a disaster. And it was a tabletop. So we all just kind of sat around, went through our roles. What would we do? How could we improve? And, we all took copious notes on that, and we'll come back in, 8-10 months and add it to a functional, kind of what we learned from last night and improve on that. And so that was a good thing. So that's what we like to do, is just work on those disasters by simulating and doing exercises, so we are prepared in case. So that's about all I have.
Sounds good. Thank you, Melissa. Questions? Excellent. Scott, you're up again, highway traffic safety.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Fire department. Anybody from the fire department? Don't see anybody. And Katie Wantock has joined us this morning. Good morning, Katie.
Morning.
UW Extension.
First Supervisor Tripp Sargent has his hand raised.
I think Sergeant Bell has had his hand raised. And now it's not.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Good morning, everyone. No livestock disease issues to report, but do have fungal diseases running through crops. So, for example, homeowners, you'll be seeing black spots potentially. It's called tar spot, maybe on your maple trees. Lots of fungal diseases. We've had homeowners call about their lilac bushes having shriveled up and died. And now we're seeing that in corn. So for example, you'll see a lot of corn that's already dried down a lot sooner, unfortunately, than we would like to see, which means the corn stand, the stalk itself will deteriorate, and farmers may need to be harvesting corn a lot sooner than we anticipate. Typically right now on the roadways, you'll see choppers going out, chopping corn silage. We'll follow that with some of our kidney beans will be harvested. Potatoes should be wrapping up as well, followed by combines going out for soybeans and then combines out for corn. This year, unfortunately, we might have the corn and soybeans reversed. No fungal issues too much, maybe a little white mold in soybeans, but not as much as we're seeing in the corn right now. So that's on the crop side. Otherwise, farmers are doing well with commodity prices and supported funding from the federal government to assist them. So no issues from that perspective. We are piloting a training for handling of livestock. It's a really long name. Planning for Emergency Livestock Trailer Response, PELTR. We are piloting that in our corner of the state as well in the southwest corner. It's an online course that they started because of the pandemic, but to encourage emergency management, sheriff's departments, fire, and veterinarians as well, to make sure everybody's on pace with animal handling, biosecurity issues, and proper handling of scene mortalities in those, should there be any trailer or livestock issues. So that is going on right now. I anticipate having the in-person training. It's a half day on Monday, October 11th, here at our Dunn County Menominee facility. And I believe we'll have one long trailer, possibly a semi with a pot coming in as well. So they can have a look at how big those trailers are, and what happens if there's cattle on them when they have a accident. Any questions?
Thank you, Katie. Any questions? All right. And I don't see KT yet. So that brings us to item number 7. I have no business. Is there any committee concerns, unfinished business to discuss? And don't see any. Then our next meeting is scheduled for December 17th at 9 a.m. Via Zoom. It seems that I recall we spoke about this at the last meeting, and Zoom is a pretty good option, even if it weren't for COVID. So we're going to continue to do that. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Say, Jim, Bill Yates, I didn't receive the agenda last meeting or this meeting, and I don't know if I'm off the list, or maybe that's on purpose. I don't know, but I was going to mention that I didn't get the agenda. So
yeah, good. I'm glad you did, Bill.
It's
Pardon me,
attached to
Mary?
your invite. It's attached to your invite. So did you get the invitation for the meeting?
Yeah, if you must have gotten that. So yeah, it would be attached to that.
It's
I'll
on
take
the
a look at it.
lower part of the invite.
Well, we'll double check. Marie, if you want to just make a note of that for Patty when she returns, we can check to make sure, Bill. Don't intend to leave you out of anything. Any other announcements? Anything else? Seeing none, I want to thank John and Marie and all of the people that made this meeting possible. Thanks to all of you for your efforts, and stay safe, stay well. We'll see you in a couple of months. The meeting is adjourned.
Scott, you're host, so you gotta end it.